Hi, I'm really excited to share with you today our brand new map that enables Twilio integration to send SMS messages. So the first part of this video is going to be a quick demo of how the map works. The second part of the video is how to install the map. There are a couple different levels and I'll talk through some of them. And then finally, I'll get into some of the details of how the map actually works so that you can build on top of it. So without further ado, let's get into the demo. One quick note is that the map installs these OneSteps that I'm going to show into the blueprint scope, uh, just as kind of an extra security precaution so that you don't open up this new ability to send SMS messages to everybody in your organization right off the bat. But it's very easy to create a OneStep. If you're familiar with how to build content in Cherwell, it's very easy to create a OneStep that calls another OneStep, and that's what we intend here. So I'm just going to open up this OneStep that I've created in the global scope for this demo called Send SMS Message. And really all it does is runs another OneStep, and this other OneStep is actually in the blueprint scope. So I did create this OneStep through a blueprint, but exposed it in the global scope so that I could actually run it for this demo. So I'm going to click Run. It's going to ask me for a phone number. I'm going to type in my cell number. And then it'll ask me for a message. I'll just say hello. It'll show me a preview of the message. I'll click OK, and it sent the message. So in just a minute, I'll receive that on my phone, but that's basically how the map works. Now, there are additional integrations that we've built into the map to allow, say, sending a text message from an incident to the customer that sent that incident in. So let's go ahead and create a new incident. And we're not going to do anything fancy on this incident. We'll just say, sure, call source phone. For customer, I'm going to choose myself. We'll add a description. We'll pick something for service classification. And a priority. Basically just fill out all the required fields. We'll save this incident. And now I'm going to go into my OneStep manager, association incident, and find another OneStep that I've called send SMS message to customer. Again, this is just a very simple OneStep that runs another OneStep that is the one that's installed by the map. So I'm going to click run. It'll ask for a message, and I'll say your incident is done. Click OK. The preview is it pulls my phone number because I'm the customer on this incident. It's the message that I supplied, and I'll hit OK. Now, there's also an additional feature of this particular OneStep in that this message will show up on the Journals tab. So you'll notice here's the phone number and here's the details that I sent, that I specified in that prompt. So that's basically how the map works. Let's get into how to install it. So for installation, we have three different kind of pre-configured ways to install this map. We have one that we've called core, which is just that first OneStep that I showed. Just the ability to send an SMS message through your Twilio account to a recipient phone number that you specify and an SMS message text that you specify. This makes it very extensible, so you can build on top of it for whatever you want to do. The second part is that plus the integration with incident. That was the second OneStep that I showed. And finally, we have a fully customizable installer. So you can run this little program, choose your connection. I'll choose demo 2 and log in. And in just a minute, it'll show me a list of all the major business objects in the system. So you can choose whatever business object you want to associate this OneStep with. So I'll choose incident. If I just choose incident, it's basically like the core plus incident version of the map. But let's also choose a configuration item. We recommend that with group business objects, you add this to the group leader and not the group members. If you run the OneStep from the group members, it will still do the right thing, but then you don't have multiple copies of essentially the same OneStep floating around with different business objects that are all related. I'll do incident and configuration item. You do need to specify your Twilio API key and secret and your outbound phone number. These can all be found on your Twilio dashboard. So you can see I've signed up for just a Twilio trial account, and I have the account SID, which is that first box, auth token, which is the second box, and my trial number. If you've paid for a Twilio account, you can have many numbers. Pick the one that you want your Cherwell instance to be sending text messages from. So basically, I'll copy this this first value into that first box. I'm not actually going to copy my real API secret, so I'll just put some garbage there. And then I'll copy this trial number. The plus at the beginning is okay here, but any other punctuation in phone numbers shouldn't be present for this particular field. There is some logic in place so that if there are dashes or periods in the phone numbers on your customer records, those get stripped out before it gets sent to Twilio, just so Twilio properly handles the phone number. And then we'll click install. It'll give me an option to save the blueprint. In this case, I don't really want to. I just want to apply it, so I'll say no. Do you want to apply the blueprint to the system now? I'll say yes. And in just a second, it will have installed. It'll tell me the installation is completed, and then I can close this window. Now, if I go into my administrator client and pull up the demo 2 database, you can see it's made some changes, so I need to refresh the catalog. Thankfully, it's on my local machine, so this won't take too long. We'll go ahead and create a new blueprint, pop into managers, and the OneStep manager. And now we can see in instant, in the blueprint scope, we have send text message to current customer. Similarly, if we went to configuration item, we would also see that send text message to current customer. It's essentially the same OneStep, obviously same name in different scope, so it's actually a different OneStep, but it's updated with all the information for configuration item versus incident. And finally, if we go to association none, we'll see in the Synapse Software Twilio folder the send text message OneStep. Both of the incident and configuration item OneSteps actually leverage this this one send text message OneStep, which makes it really easy to handle all of the configuration that goes into actually communicating with the Twilio API. So that's basically how to install the map. And now let's get into some details. One key detail is that if you install the map using the .mapz files, you do need to make a few updates in 4 different places, 3 different values, 4 different places. The first one is in web services. And this web service, there's one web service. This is basically how we communicate with Twilio. So let me go ahead and edit that. Under accounts, you do need to specify a user ID and password. In Twilio's case, they actually made it pretty easy. For user ID, you enter your Twilio account SID, and if you remember that value from before, you might recognize that. The password is the Twilio auth token. So that's 2 things to update. Finally, the other 2 things that you'll need to update are some stored values. They are also in the blueprint scope in the Synapse Software Twilio folder. And they are outbound phone number and Twilio account SID. Twilio account SID is the exact same Twilio account SID as was used for the user ID for the web service account. That's this value right here. And then the outbound phone number is the phone number that the map will use when sending SMS messages. So you'll notice this is the phone number that I pasted into that third box on the install screen. You'll notice I don't actually have to update that here on this database because I did use that installer. If you use the installer and enter those 3 values on the install screen, it automatically populates the 2 stored values and correctly updates the web service account. So we really recommend you use the custom installer because it does everything for you. So finally, how you can leverage the map and kind of build on top of it. So let's dive into OneSteps. And I'm going to pull up the, where am I? Incident. I want to go to Blueprint. And let's go to send text message to current customer. Let's go ahead and edit that and see what's going on here. Basically, what we're doing is we pull the mobile number from the customer record, and one note on that, we'll pull up this this incident that I had and open up my customer record. The second phone number, the secondary phone number, is actually stored in the mobile field on the customer business object. However, we don't assume that that's a mobile number because this label is secondary phone. So if you want this number to be used as the mobile number, make sure that this type is set as mobile. If you don't have a mobile number set for a customer, you'll get a little pop-up that says no mobile number is set for the customer. Please make sure there's a mobile number on the customer record before you try this again. Something along those lines. I forget exactly what the message is, but it's something like that. So just a quick note on that. So jumping back into the OneStep, basically what happens there is it stores the mobile number in a stored value. There are a few stored values that are leveraged as part of this OneStep and kind of facilitate communication between these business object specific OneSteps and the more general OneStep that actually does the sending of the text message. And you can see we run that OneStep here in this call send text message action. So the first stored value to be aware of is current recipient phone number. This is where we store the recipient phone number that we've pulled from the business object record. If a recipient phone number doesn't exist, then you actually get prompted for the phone number if you're just running this call send text message one step. In this case, you can see we have a decide between multiple cases, and if you don't have a phone number specified, you'll get this message, which is the message I mentioned before. The customer does not have a mobile number specified. In order to send a text message, please set a mobile number on the customer's record. Then the next one to be aware of is caller cleans up. Basically, this facilitates this create journal SMS record step. So the send text message one step that is unassociated will clean up after itself unless this stored value is set to true. Basically, this says don't clean up after yourself. I will take care of it because I want to do additional stuff with the information. So you'll notice we don't actually create the journal record until after we've sent the text message. And finally, the last one to be aware of isn't actually used here, but if we pull up stored values, we'll see it. So it's in, yeah, so we talked about caller cleans up, we talked about current recipient phone number, that's where the phone number gets stored, like if it gets pulled from the mobile number on the business object. We do have a flag to allow editing of the current message before send. This is kind of like the check mark or the checkbox in an email, a one-step email step to allow editing of the email before it gets sent. So that's kind of cool. We talked about those two. Those are kind of more background system level ones. But then finally, current message text. Basically, you saw that prompt where I entered the text message that I wanted to send. But there is a stored value where if that stored value is set, it will automatically use that text message, or it will use that text for the text message instead of prompting me for it. So it allows a lot of flexibility here, and I think a lot of possibilities to build on top of it. Yeah, so that's basically it. That's the meat and potatoes of it. If you like what you see here, give us a ring, send us an email. You can purchase this map from our website and find more information about it in the description below, as well as links to purchase it and links to find out more. Thanks for watching.